Okay. Well, very good morning, guys. Okay. So last class I just explained you about the dependency injection pattern, where in the dependency injection we discussed like the three important components. We have three important things in the dependency injection. What are the three? First one is the client class. First one is the service class. So what is the service class? The service class is the place where we actually implement our logic. It's a combination of the interface and the classes. Second one, the second one is going to be the client. The client is the one who is going to consume, the service. Who is that? Controllers. All the controllers are the clients who are going to consume the services. And the third one is the injector. What is the injector? Injector is the one which is going to inject our service dynamically. And what is that? That is a program class in case of ASP.NET 6.0. And if you're working with ASP.NET 5.0, that is startup class. The startup class or the program class are just going to be the injectors here. Okay, so like this, we just have three different things what we have. Okay, so last class we saw all the three and explained about each and everything. Now remember, how did we implement our data logic? Our data logic is implemented targeting XML. But actually we want to implement the data logic by using SQL Server. We want our data logic to be implemented using SQL Server. So just today, let's learn how to implement the logic by using SQL Server. So if at all you want to use the data source as an SQL Server, if SQL Server is going to be your data source, what to do? So if you want to use SQL Server as a data source, you're required to just connect with SQL Server using Entity Framework Core. Entity Framework Core is what we are going to use to connect with SQL Server. Okay. We are done with all these things. Yes. Implementing DAL class targeting SQL Server. Okay. Now, let's implement a new DAL class targeting SQL Server. And to do that, let's use Entity Framework Core, which is an extension to Entity Framework. So guys, remember, Entity Framework Core is an extension to Entity Framework. We already used Entity Framework, and I don't require to give you any explanation regarding the Entity Framework. Your guys are clear of it. So come on, Entity Framework Core. Entity Framework Core is what we are learning today. Okay, so carefully observe. This is a new version of Entity Framework after EF 6.x. Remember the last version of Entity Framework. What is that? 6.4.4 is the version what we use. The next version is going to be Entity Framework Core. It is open source, lightweight, extensible, and cross-platform version of Entity Framework data access technology. It's a cross-platform version of the Entity Framework. Entity Framework is not cross-platform, but Entity Framework Core cross-platform. Entity Framework is an object relational mapping, ORM framework. You already know what is ORM. It's an enhancement to older ADO.NET that gives the developers an automated mechanism for accessing the storing the data in database. EF Core is intended to be used with the .NET Core application. EF Core is mainly designed to work with .NET Core application. However, We can, it can also be used with the .NET 4.5 framework based applications also, but not all. 4.5 plus 4.5 and above. Suppose you are building an application with the .NET framework 4.0, you cannot use NT framework core. 4.5 and above can use NT framework core. EF core is a complete rewrite compared to EF6, but maximum all options of EF6 are available in EF core. It's a complete rewrite here, but maximum all the options will be available here. And when you come to EF core here, we have only two development approaches. What are the two? Code first, database first. What is missing? Model first is missing. We don't have model first here, remember. Model first is not there. We have a code first and we have DB first. And coming to the DB first, a limited support is given for DB first. Means the full support is only for code first. EF core mainly targets code first approach and provides very limited support to database first approach because the visual designer for DB modeling is not supported. We don't have a visual designer here. In code first approach, EF core API creates database and tables using migrations based on the conventions and configurations provided in our domain classes. This approach is useful in domain driven design. I already explained this for you in the code first approach. What is that? EF core will create you database, tables, procedures, all based on migrations and the configurations. In database first approach, EF core API creates a domain and context classes based on an existing database using what? EF core commands. You already know that by using the EF core commands, it is going to generate you the model and the context class. The model and the context class based on an existing database. This has a limited support in EF core as it doesn't have visual designer or wizard. It doesn't have a visual designer here. That's a limited support is given. Option is there, but very limited support. Now, if you compare EF core with EF6, EF core is new and improved version of NT framework for .NET Core application. EF core is actually a new and improved version of NT framework for .NET Core application. And if you just look at these points here, see, EF core continues to support the following features and concepts same as EF6. Just a minute. EF core is a new and improved version of NT framework for .NET Core application. EF core continues to support the following features and concepts same as EF6. What is it? We have now also DB context and DB set models, queries using link to entities, change tracking, save changes, migrations. EF core will include most of the features of EF6 gradually. However, these are some of the features EF6 which are not supported. So the above all the things what I listed here are supported to you. The above things what I listed here are supported to you. They are supported. But few things which are not available for you for support. Few things which are not available for you for the support. What is it? EF core, listen, EF core will include most of the features of EF6 gradually. However, there are some features of EF6 which are not supported in EF core. There are some features here which are not supported in EF core, such as these are the features here which are basically not supported for you in the what is not supported? First one. Just a second. You can just have a look. What is not supported? You can just have a look like what is not supported here. What is supported and what is not supported. What is that? First, we don't have the EDMX graphical visual designer. We don't have a graphical designer. Next. Next. Entity data model wizard for DB first is not available. Automatic migrations is not available. Inheritance strategies like table per type, table per concrete class is not available. Many to many without join entity is not available. Lazy loading of related data is not available. What we have is only eager loading. There is no lazy loading. Stored procedure mapping for CUD operations is not available. EF core includes the following new features which are not supported in EF6. There are something new which are not supported for you in the EF6. So basically what I was trying to tell you is, guys, all these things what I listed you here, which are available in what? These are basically available in EF6, but not available in EF core. Did you catch my point or not? They are supported in EF6, but not going to be available in the EF core. These are the things what are supported, but not available for you in the EF core. So all these are the list of the features what we have, but not basically available in the EF6. And these features are as it is available. EF core, EF6 have all these features, and these are the things what EF core doesn't have, but EF6 have. And come here. What are these? These are the new things now. Supported by EF core, but not supported by EF6. Supported by EF core, but not supported by EF6. What are those? What are those? Have a look. They're all the new things what we have now. First one, we don't have. What is that? Easy relationship configuration, batch insert, update and delete, in-memory providers for testing, support for IOC, unique constraints, shadow properties, alternate keys, global query filters, field mapping, DB context pooling, and better patterns for handling disconnected entity graphs. These are some of the new things what are available for us in EF core, but not available in EF6. And coming here, what I said here, these are the features which are available in EF6 but not in EF core, and these are going to be common in both. These are common for both the two things. Are you clearer or not? Okay, so this is about the list of the things what we just have. Okay, the following features which are not supported in EF6. Yeah, these are the list of what is not supported for you in the EF6. Fine. What next? Now, want to work with, yeah, we'll show you guys all those particular things. We'll talk about it. Don't worry. Now, you want to work with EF core. You want to work with EF core. See, if you want to work with EF, you basically installed NT framework on your project. NT framework. Now you're required to install NT framework core. What do you need to install? NT framework core. But remember, NT framework core is available for multiple databases. NT framework basically designed to targeting SQL. For other data sources also available, but we need to purchase them third parties. But when you talk about EF core is cross-platform, and we have the providers available for multiple databases. And here is the link to see what databases are supported for EF core. Okay, so go there, open that. If you open that, In this, you can just see this database provider. NT Framework Core can access many different databases through plugin libraries called database providers. And you can just see these are all the plugins what we have. This is for SQL Server, SQLite, in-memory database, Cosmos, PostgreSQL, MySQL. Okay, MySQL, NT Framework Core, Oracle. So you have like various different providers that are listed here. You can see. Sorry, up to here. You can download whatever you want. Some are free, guys. Some should be purchased. Some are free. Yeah, it is showing you see here. Wherever you don't see anything, notes or requirements, it's free. It is free with some limitations. See, paid version. You need to purchase them. Paid works only on Windows. Paid works only on Linux. Paid works only on Mac. This is currently preview version, but still not. For development only, this is available. This works only on .NET framework. This all works only on the .NET framework. I said you, basically we just have .NET framework also available for other platforms, but still they're not most compatible. Very old versions, 2.2 versions, what we have. But still, we can just find out the things in this list. This list will show you the complete details like what we have and what is supported. Are you clear? So this is going to contain, I given the list there. See, NT Framework Core uses provider models to access many different databases. NT Framework Core provides access to many databases through plugin libraries called database providers. And we need to install those providers as NuGet packages. We require to install all of them as NuGet packages. List of available providers can be found at the following location. To work with NT Framework Core in our application, we need to install the following two packages from NuGet. What are the two? See? Microsoft.NT Framework Core.tools. Microsoft Entity Framework Core.SQL Server. Understand the first one, eh? Microsoft.NT Framework Core.tools. This package here, this package basically provides you this package. If you understand about the first one, that package provides you all the required libraries common for all relational data sources. Common for all means you work with Oracle, you work with SQL Server, you work with anything you work. This is common for everyone. And the second one is specific to SQL. Means tomorrow if you want to work with Oracle, the first one is same now. But when you come to the second one will be the NT framework for SQL Server will be available. Same way for PostgreSQL will be available. But first one is common. Okay now? So look at here. Microsoft NT Framework Core Tools contains a set of types and tools for scaffolding using which we can perform migrations. This is common for any database and any database we want to work with like SQL Server or Oracle or MySQL. In this package, internal depends on another package. What is the other package? Microsoft.Entity Framework Core.Design. It depends on another package, and this is the other package what it depends upon. What is that? Microsoft.Entity Framework Core.Design. Contains a shared design time components for NT Framework Core Tools. So first thing you require to install is this one. When you install this, it will also install Microsoft.NT Framework Core.Design. What is the second one? NT Framework Core.SQL Server. Contains a set of types which are required to work with SQL Server database, and this package generally depends on two other packages. What are the two? Microsoft.NT Framework Core.Relation and Microsoft.Data.SQL Client. So these are the other two things what you just require to install here. These are the other two things what you require to install. One is Microsoft. Microsoft dot just a minute, guys. Just a second. Observe. Yeah. Microsoft.NT framework code. Under that we have Microsoft.NT framework code relation. Contains all the types that are required in common to work with any relation database. And the second one is Microsoft.data.SQL. Contains all the types which are related to work with SQL Server database. So two packages are what you need to install. All of you remember. What are the two packages? One is Microsoft.NT framework core.tools. Second one, Microsoft.NT framework core.SQL Server. Let us install them. Let us first install them in our code. Okay, come on. Come to your project, tools, NuGet package manager, manage NuGet package solutions. What is the first one? Microsoft.NT framework core.tools. Come on, let's type. Browse. Microsoft.Entity framework core.tools. Okay. So when you try this one, Microsoft.NT framework core.tools, all of you watch it. Microsoft.NT framework core.tools. When you select this and come to the other side, you come here, guys. On the other side, we select this project and install. Na? Let me install. Before installing, just watch here. If you come below, it will show you it's loading here. Loaded. It will show you the dependencies on what it exactly depends. It will show you the dependencies on what it depends. Watch it. It depends on. Are you clear? That only I shown you now. It depends on Microsoft NT framework core.design. So when I install the first one, automatically the second one is also installed for you. So install. Suppose if that depends upon some other, that all will be installed on your machine. If at all you go to Solution Explorer, go to dependencies and go to packages, you install NT framework core tools, correct? Under that, you install this one. But this internally depends on some other things. Microsoft NT framework core.relation that depends upon something else. All the child sub packages will be loaded for you when you install the root. What is the root? NT framework core.tools. Once you install that, everything will come. What is the second one? Microsoft NT framework core.SQL server. NT framework core.SQL server. If you select this and come here, taking time to load here, it will load you all the things. Earlier also it did not load immediately, but yeah, it's loading. See, depends on. Are you clear? Microsoft NT framework core.relation and Microsoft.data.SQL client. It's what it depends. Maybe they may depend on some other things also. We are not aware. Install. Yeah, meta package. Exactly. You come here. Yeah. It installed SQL server also. SQL server depending on SQL client and relation, and decentralized depending on some other packages, still depending on some other packages. Basically, the root package is called as a meta package. We call it as a meta package. The meta package will download you all the required dependencies to you and install on your machines. So right now, we got installed everything on our machine. What is required for NT framework is installed on our machine. Okay, Fine. So this came now. What next? The next thing what you just require to do is, after installing all these particular things, now you need to write the coding. You need to write the coding. Targeting what? You need to write the coding. Targeting our SQL server. We need to write the code targeting the SQL server. Okay. So if at all you just want to write the code targeting the SQL server. So basically in our SQL server, do we have this customer table or should I create? Come on, tell me faster. Do I have this customer table or should I create this? Maybe you have the table, but columns may be different. Let's create it. Let's create it. Let us go for creating it. Anyhow, okay, we are using code first. And you already know that in code first, everything is going to be everything will be created for you. Database, context, everything will be, database, domain class, all the things will be created. So let's do one thing, guys. Let's do one thing. We already have a customer class in our project now. Go to models, customer. Let's use some annotations on this. Let us use some annotations on this. For what? What is the key column? What is the data types you want? Restrictions if you want to apply. You can use annotations. You already know that. I don't require to tell you. So let me import system dot component model dot data annotations and also system dot component model dot data annotations dot schema. You remember both the two things. Okay. Now first customer ID. The customer ID basically I require to say it is a key column. Why? Because key column name should either be ID or customer ID, not cust ID. Do you remember that? Key column name should either be ID or customer ID. Cannot give cust ID. So I need to tell it. This is my key column. I need to tell this is my key column. Come on, let's say key. This is a key column. And also I wanted to off the auto generation. I wanted to off the auto generation. I don't want auto generation. Yeah, you already know that. What is that? Database generated option dot. Default is identity, guys. Change to none. Change this to none. I don't want this. Now come to name. For the name, guys, I'm setting max length as 100. Max length as 100. Second one, column. I'm telling type name. What should be the type name? The type name should be varchar. So what is the data type now? Varchar of 100. Varchar of 100 will be the type name. Okay, now come to balance. For this balance, guys, for this balance, what I want, I want the column type name. What should be the type name? Money. I want money as the data type for this. Okay. Now come to city. Now when you come to the city, for the city also, I want the same two annotations. For city also, I want the same two annotations. Okay, just a minute. I'll use some spaces. The first one, second, third, 4, 5. Yeah, watch, observe. Coming to status, I don't want any annotations here. Coming to status, I don't want any annotations. So why are you doing all these things? Because basically, I'm showing you code first. Code first is only available in a full support. Model first if you take, DB first if you take, we can use here, I'll show you example with DB first also, but DB first is a very limited support. DB first is very limited support what is available. So what is available? Full support is only code first. Okay, everything is ready now. I just been declared, I have applied annotations on my models. Clear, huh? What next? Connection string. You require a connection string now in the config. So what is our config file, remember? Tell me what is the config file? Config file. Brainless fellows. Config file, yeah. Web.config is replaced with app settings.json. That is our config file. So go here. Already in this, some configuration information is available. Already here, some configuration information is available. Okay. And actually, in this, I want to write the connection string now. See, remember, if you want to use connection string common for all, right up here. If you want to use a different connection string for development environment, production environment, testing environment, write the information in app settings dot development dot json, app settings dot production dot json, app settings dot testing dot json. If I write here, what is the meaning? It is common for all. Okay, generally common things will be putting here. Okay, so I am just going to put here. Have a look on this. Now, what do you do? Guys, you watch it here. Some information is already available here. What's it? Logging information is already available. What is available? The logging information is already available. Afterwards, what we have? Allowed hosts. We have something called as allowed hosts. Okay, so we have allowed host. Now, in the allowed host, what you do is put a comma here and write what? Connection strings. What are you writing? Connection strings. Now, in this, you'll be writing the connection string. How do you write the connection string? Key name, constr. Key name is constr. And directly here, you can start entering the value. That is the key name, and here is the value. What is the value? Anything you like. What? Data source is equals to server. Next, database is equals to, we have a database called MVC DB now. Okay, I'm creating a new database here, MVC core DB. Are you clear? The new database is MVC core DB is a new database what I'm just trying to create, MVC core DB. Anything you like, no problem. Semicolon. User ID. What is your ID? SC. Password. What is the password? 1, 2, 3. So observe it, all the steps to you. So to work with SQL Server using NT Framework core in our existing MVC DH project application, perform the below actions. Step 1, install the above two specified NuGet packages. Step 2, go to customer.cs file and apply data annotations on it by importing the required namespaces. So these are the two namespaces to import, and then these are the annotations what we applied. These are the annotations what we just applied here. Okay, step 3. Open app settings.json file and write the connection string for connecting to SQL Server just below the allowed host statement. That should now look as the following. So basically go there and write it. Oh, no need comma here. Okay, no need comma here. Allowed hosts, and below that you can write connection strings. Comma required. Comma required. Okay, I was giving wrong code here. Here you should have a comma, guys. In the notes, I did not put comma. When you're writing, don't forget this. Okay, just there should be a comma there. Yeah, logging. Under that, you got log level. Default. Afterwards, we have allowed hosts, and now you are adding connection strings. This is how you're required to write the connection string there. Okay, so now it should look like this. There should be a comma. In the printout, comma is missing, guys. Just be careful. You need a comma and write this connection string. This is how it should look now. Okay, now this is how it has to look now. MVC, okay. Spelling name wrong. MVC core DB. Any name here, no problem. Just trying to create a new database, that's all. If I give more core DB, that only will be created. Nah, what happens then? Whatever name you give here, that name only will be created with the database. Yeah, we are creating a new database for core. We are creating a new database for core. For core, I am creating a new database. I hope I'm clear. So this is the third step. Fourth step. What is the fourth step? The fourth step is, guys, now what is the fourth step? You know, the fourth step is, listen carefully. Now what you require to do, you know, we need to define the context class. NT framework requires a context class now. So what to do? We require to create a context class. We need a context class with the appropriate thing. Okay. So go to models folder. Context class always in models folder now. Add a class. Give a name for your context class. I'm giving the name as MVC core DB context. We used to write as company DB context, store DB context. Same way, MVC core DB context is the class what I'm giving now. Okay. So click on the add button. What you'll do, just go for performing this action first. This one should inherit from, I hope you remember this. Context class should inherit from DB context. See, the namespace is different. Earlier it is a system.data.entity. Now, represent on the top here, open the mouth. Microsoft.ntframework.core. Earlier it is system.data.entity. Now it is Microsoft.asp.net. Sorry, Microsoft.ntframework.core is the namespace name. Okay, now come here. All rules are just going to be same. First, define a constructor, public MVC core DB context. Okay, MVC core DB context. Actually, guys, here the constructor takes a parameter area. In this case, the constructor, this is same only here, colon, base, and we require to write the connection strings and all. But a little bit small difference is the connection, it takes a parameter actually. The parameter is of type DB context options. DB context options is the parameter what it takes. To the base, we can directly pass these options now. No need to specify the connection string name. Actually, if you remember, it will automatically read the connection string for you. It will automatically read the connection string for you. I don't require to again go for specifying it anywhere. Simply, when all I just use it, automatically it is going to read the connection string. So no need to again specify the connection string name at all. What next? Public DB set customers get set. What is new in this code? Tell me. What for what? For constructor we have a parameter. Earlier for a constructor we don't have a parameter. So we have a parameter. And again here we need to write connection string name. But here we write only options. And second change is DB context class is defined for you under a different namespace. Not system.data.entity. entity. It is Microsoft.nt framework core. Okay, so that is the namespace under which. Apart from that, everything is going to be the same. So step 3, now add a new class in the models folder with the name MVC core DB context, and this class is our DB context, and under this class write the below code. Import this namespace. This is the class, and this is all the code what we are implementing. This is all the code what we are just implementing in this case now. Okay, this is our this is our step 4. This is our step 4. See, read this note. The above class MVC core DB context is not specially designed to work with SQL Server database, but was designed generic to work with any relational database. Understand? You'll have a doubt here. What is the doubt? Sir, you did not give the connection string name. Array, in MVC, in NT framework, do you remember? We used to give the connection string name in the double quotes constr. We give the connection string name there. Yes or not? But here we did not give the connection string name. Tomorrow, multiple connection strings can be present, na? Array, multiple connection strings can be present. One connection string targeting SQL Server, one connection string targeting Oracle. Like this, multiple connection strings can be present. Are you following my point here? With the multiple connection strings, if you don't specify the connection string name here, how does it know? How does it know? So that's what I'm telling you. If I specify the connection string name here as constr, I am specifically targeting to SQL Server. Tomorrow, assume like you have another connection string in this. Assume like you have another connection string in this particular thing. You can put a comma and you can write one more connection string. But if the key name is same, error will come. A key name is same, error will come. For example, this is SQL connection string and this is Oracle connection string. Are you clearer or not? I'm just going to write a Oracle connection string. Okay, for the timing, this is connection string and this is Oracle connection string. Here I will target what? Oracle. Here my target is Oracle. What do you write? Data source is equals to server. User ID is equals to Scott. Password is equals to Tiger. So how many connection strings are there? 2. And now in the context class, you did not specify the connection string name. 2 connection strings are there. Which one will it read? That will be our doubt. That only I'm telling you. This one, if you look at this, this is basically designed in a generalized way, not targeting to SQL Server. Not targeting to, means you can use this context class with Oracle also. You can use this context class with SQL Server also. MySQL also. Anything you can use. What's the namespace also? The namespace is not Microsoft.SQL Server is not there. It is simply entity framework core, not pointing to SQL Server or anything. That is how they designed it now. That is how they designed it now. Then how do you tell, sir, which data source it is? That is again, we are going to tell it through dependency injection. We are again going to tell this through dependency injection. We are going to inject the acquired thing. If I inject SQL Server here, if the service type is SQL Server, it will connect with SQL Server. If the service type is Oracle, it will connect with Oracle. If the service type is MySQL, it will connect with MySQL. It's again a generic class. Are you clearer or not? And the injection is done through DB context options. The injection is done through DB context options. I'll show you. Okay. So am I clear with this point? The above class is not specially configured to work with SQL Server database, but was designed generic to work with any relational database. So this is also loosely coupled with the database we want to work with. We need to inject the information of the database. We want to work it through the injector class, that is startup in ASP.NET Core 5.0 or program in ASP.NET Core 6.0. Step 5. Because MVC Core DB context class is loosely coupled, we need to register this class in startup class for ASP.NET Core 5.0 to tell whether it has to connect with SQL Server or SQLite or MySQL or Oracle or PostgreSQL or Cosmos database. I need to tell that. So that the dependency injection container, will tell the MVC code DB context class to which database it has to connect with in runtime. To register the context class, we need to use, what is the method, guys? Add DB context method, and to do that, write the below code. And look at this, all of you guys. If you're working with 5.0, where configure services, startup class, import Microsoft NT Framework Core and write the code. What is the code? Services.add DB context. Here what you should write? Context class, yeah, context class. Okay, options dot what? Look at that carefully. Use SQL Server. Same way if you're working with Oracle, you'll have a method use Oracle. If you're working with Cosmos DB, you'll find a method use Cosmos DB that will be available to you. You can call that method, and here you're writing the connection string name. Watch it now. You're targeting to Conisteer. Same way if you want to work with Oracle, what you'll call options dot use Oracle, and here in the place of Conisteer, what do you write? Oracle Conisteer. Did you understand my point here? So what to do? Now go to program class. Now go to program class, and you're required to register the service now. You're required to register the service now. Where clearly telling, see, above, you're required to write above the statement, this one. How to write? Builder dot services dot, just like add scope to something, add DB context is the class. So just like add scope, now it is add DB context. And here you're required to tell your context class name. What's your context class name? MVC core DB context. MVC core DB context. Okay. Dot MVC core DB context is the context class name what we have. Okay. And here you should write options, lambda expression, options, a lambda expression. Then you're just required to write options dot use SQL Server. Do I have a use Oracle method available? Use Oracle not there. Why? You did not install Oracle. What do you install? You installed SQL Server only. Remember that. If you install Oracle, you will get use Oracle method. If you install Cosmos DB, you will get use Cosmos DB method. If you install PostgreSQL, you get use PostgreSQL. But now I have only use SQL Server method. I just calling the use SQL Server method, and the use SQL Server method will provide me options to use SQL Server in my code now. Is the point clear? Use SQL Server. Afterwards, use SQL Server, and then here you need to pass what? What is that? Configuration. Configuration. Configuration only. Configuration. No, directly we cannot call. Okay, sorry. If it is MVC5, you can directly call here. Builder dot configuration dot. What is that option? Get connection string. Get the connection string. Connection string. What is the name? Conisteer. Is how you should write, guys. Builder dot services dot add DB context. It's a generic method. For this, what are you passing? A parameter. What is the parameter? Options. Options dot use SQL Server. Builder dot configuration dot get connection string. Builder dot configuration dot get connection string. So this is going to read the connection string from this. And guys, now tell me your context class is targeting what? SQL Server. If I write here code for Oracle, my context class will immediately target Oracle now. Again, this is dependency injection again. Did you understand me? So what is the injector? Now also program is the injector. What is the service? Sorry, not this. The service class is, we are not going to specify the service class name here. The service class name will be injected by this method. Will be injected by this particular method. Means what is the service class? We are not aware of it. What is the service class object is not aware. That is already predefined for you under the libraries. And who is the client? That is the client. That is the client. Are you clear? Service class name is not known to us. That is predefined. Where is it? It is available in this method. Use SQL Server. Inside of the method, it will pick up the service class and pass to it. And that is not known to us. Why? That is predefined code. That is a predefined code. Are you clear? Any doubts? Tell me. So this again, loosely coupled or tightly coupled? Loosely coupled. It is going to be loosely coupled. Finally, the last thing what you have. What is that? I'll tell you. Hold on. Yeah, I given the code for both the two things, guys. For 5.0 and 6.0. This is how you write for 5.0 and this is how you write for 6.0. See, use SQL Server is an extension method under DB Context Builder class, which is added on install of Microsoft.NT Framework Core.SQL Server package. Same as this, when we install Oracle Provider package, it will add another extension method with the name use Oracle and so on. It will provide you the appropriate methods. Why do you require SQL Management Studio to be installed on our machine here? It is based on the connection string. Why are you talking about installing on our machine? Is it mandatory to install SQL Server on your machine? No. You don't require. That is all based on the connection string. On the connection string, you will tell the server name. If your server name is your machine, it will connect to your machine. If the server name is remote machine, it will connect to a remote machine. We don't require to use any of these things. Write an if condition. Write an if condition there. So the question is, suppose I have two connection strings, sir, how do I read it? Write an if condition there. How do you write? First, builder.configuration. Sorry. We can just divide our code based on some condition. Means there should be some condition. When to go with what? When to go with what? You need some condition. You'll write if your target database is something. Okay. Then read one. Else read the other. That's all. That's an if condition. That's it. You can use an if condition in the code and read whatever you want. Yes, Sai Kumar, you're right. The answer for Santosh. Santosh, read the message given by Sai Kumar. You will understand. So what is the thinking is, use SQL Server method comes if I have SQL Server on my machine. No, yeah. Use SQL Server method comes when you install the SQL Server package on your machine. We install the SQL Server package on your project now. Then it comes. Not when I install SQL Server. If that is the case, why use Oracle is not coming? I have Oracle on my machine. Is use Oracle coming? No. When will I get use Oracle? If I install Oracle package, then I will get that. Until I don't install Oracle, I don't get this. Okay? They're nowhere related with the local machine, guys. It is completely based on the connection string only. Fine. Okay. Now, the last step. What is that? Sorry, the next step. What is that? Add a class in model folder. What is that? Implementing the interface, iCustomerDAL, and provide implementation to all the abstract methods of interface targeting SQL Server. Now, guys, write your code targeting SQL Server. Write your code targeting SQL Server. Okay, what to do? Go to. Yeah, last day we have just created all these classes here. Do you remember? Last day we just created all these classes in it. Okay, come on, let's write the implementation for it. Watch it, all of you. First, I want the context class to write the code, correct? Tell me. I want the context class to write the code. I want the context class to write the code. The context class also can be sent in the form of a dependency injection. Without creating MVC core DB context class manually, you can use dependency injection here also. Watch. Public customer SQL DAL. Okay. What is your context class name? MVC core DB context. MVC core DB context. Okay. Now what to do? You're required to declare a variable and initialize it. Okay. That is the simplest option I said. You remember in the last class. Right click on this. Quick actions and refactorings. Here it will ask you, do you want to create a property or field? Field is enough for me. Just click on the field. It will write up the code. See? It declared one field. What is the name? Context. This dot context is equals to context. This context class also will come for you dynamically as a dependency injection. EF core not detected which data. It will detect. When did I see it won't detect? It will be varchar. It will be unvarchar. So what are the questions? Why did you use data annotations? Array, what you are learning here? Why do we use data annotations? If I don't specifically use data annotations, string will be unvarchar of max, and balance will be decimal of 17,2 or 18,2. Yes or not? So why I used data annotations? I use data annotations to tell my own size and to tell my own data type. That MVC core, that's not related. Data annotations are not for MVC core or something. It's the same thing we already learned in NT framework also. If you don't use data annotations, NT framework will recognize you the data types as varchar of max for strings, and for decimal it will be decimal of 18,2. But I want my own data types. Because I want my own data types, I used data annotations. Did you understand? Devaguna. Okay. So fine. Where are we? We are in the DAL class here. Okay. Context class is ready. What next? You can start calling your methods now. First method. You guys know this here. I don't require to specially tell you about all these things now. What? Simple. The first method. What is the first method? For the select, we just require to call our method. Okay, you remember this? You can just simply say context dot. DC dot we used to write now. Now the name is context. If you want to change of the name to DC, guys, without a confusion. What is the name I'm giving? DC. Now come on, write down. What? DC dot customers. DC dot customers will give you all the customers now. Dot. What next? Where. I'm using a where clause. For what? You know this. C. Lambda expression. C dot status is equals to true dot to list. Dot to list. What it will give you? Where customers is equals to. What do you say? Return view. Remember the code? Nothing new. This is the same thing what we are writing up earlier. I'm sorry guys. Return, not view. Return customers. Return customers. Or without writing two separate lines of code, simply here only we can say return. You can just directly call the return here. Can you tell me the code for this method? Guys, can you tell me the code for this method? Single record. DC dot customers dot find. We just call a method called find. Find what? Pass the customer ID. Pass the customer ID. And remember, find method returns what? Customer directly. And the method's return type is also customer. Simply say return. So this is going to return you the single customer to you in this case. Okay. What next? The next method is insert. The next method is insert. How do you write, guys? DC dot customers dot add. Add what? Customers. Add customer. DC dot customers dot add customer. DC dot save changes. Same code now also. What next? Update. You wanted to update the record. Okay. Sorry. Update and delete methods. So if you want to update, what you'll do? You just require to go for updating now. Okay. How do you watch? Guys, remember in the views, we don't deal with the status. So that's why when you're updating, we need to assign a status value. Otherwise status will go false. We all learned in NT framework already. So what to do? Customer dot status is equals to true. And now guys, you directly have a method called as update. You directly have a method called as update. And for this update, pass your object. Pass your object. What are you passing? Customer. Sir, which table? There is a specialty now in NT framework core. What do you know? When you call update, if you pass customer, it will update customer table. If you pass student, it will pass student table. If you pass teacher, it will update teacher table. Did you get my point? You don't require to now tell which table are you targeting. See, here see DC dot, you're targeting customers dot add. But here, DC dot update. This is a new change in the NT framework core. In NT framework, how did you write? Remember, DC dot entry of table name dot the status is equals to modified is equals to, we set the modified status, but not like this. How to do? DC dot update. Next, DC dot save changes. Finally, delete. How to delete? Guys, you want to delete a record. If at all you want to delete a record, the first important thing is you're required to, will you delete it or change the status? Will you delete or change the status? We change the status. If you want to change the status, first we need to identify the record. How? Customer is equals to context dot, DC dot customers dot find. Find what? You're finding the customer. After finding the customer dot status is equals to, right now the status value is true, false. Next, DC dot, that's it. This is the database code. This is all the database code what we are writing. And remember all of you guys, we don't require to change anything in the, completely delete the record. Then you'll have a method called DC dot remove, I think. Yes, remove. If you want to remove, no need to do this also. Are you guys clear? If you want to remove, that is the method. So this is for permanent deletion. No, I don't want a permanent deletion. I just want to update the status. So this is for changing the status. Choice is yours, guys. I have both the two things. If you want to delete, call the remove method. Just like you call update, you call a remove method here. Okay. Next. Yeah, if your project is .NET Core, you can just learn EF Core. That's all. Okay. But EF Core from the basics, your learning is complex. If you learn EF, you know EF Core also. Some few minor changes. Otherwise, EF Core are same. Okay. What next? The next thing you're required to do is go to program class. Guys, go to program class and do one thing. What is that, you know? Last day, you injected XML DAL here now. Change to SQL DAL because SQL DAL code implementation is done. Yes or not? SQL DAL code implementation is done because the code implementation is done. Now you are targeting to customer SQL DAL. You're targeting to the customer SQL DAL now. Are you clear? Sir, what about the controllers? Don't touch the controllers, don't touch the views. It executes as it is. Understood my point or not? In both we are updating status. Then what is the difference in update and delete? When did I say there is a difference in update and delete? Array, in update you will be updating multiple values. In delete you will be updating only status. From how many days you are writing the code, Supraja? From how many days you are writing the code, Supriya? Array, for update you will update only status. You will update all the values in the UI and send. We will only deal with the status here, but remaining all the values are updated in the UI. For delete, will be updating only status. Practice your previous examples first. That much clearly I shown you all the times to you. An update will update everything. But UI doesn't update status. That is why we do it in the DAL class. UI doesn't update the status. Yes or not? UI deals only with the other columns, not with the status. That's why status we are updating. If I don't update, what will happen? Default status will be false. I'm changing it now. Okay? But when you come to delete, delete doesn't update anything. Only one column is updated. What is that? Only status. Remaining columns will not touch here. Debug here. Make the habit of debugging. Put the breakpoints. See what is happening. Why did I write the code? Always you need to debug your code. If you debug, you will get the clarity how you're doing it. Okay? So, finally what to do? Come to program and specify it. So is everything ready? Yes, everything is ready. What next? Migrations. The next step is migrations. We require to use migrations now. Why? Because code first require migrations. And in NT framework, two types of migrations are there. What are the two? Automatic migrations, code-based migrations. So when you run directly, automatic migrations apply. Do you remember that? But when you come to NT framework core, when you come to entity framework core, we don't have automatic migrations, and what we have is only manual migrations. Code-based migrations are only available. No automatic migrations. Only code-based migrations are available. So what you require to do now is you just require to apply the migration. How to apply the migration? Migrations are applied in PMC, Package Manager Console. We apply the migrations. Remember that? I explained about migrations in detail for you. Automatic migrations also, code first. Rollbacking, multiple migrations, separating, all the things I just shown you. So here we require to go for using the code first migrations here. How to apply? Open the Package Manager Console and you require to use this command. Do you remember this command? Add hyphen migration. Add hyphen migration. And then you require to give a name to the migration. Any name of your choice. I'm giving the name as initial migration. I'm giving the name as initial migration. This commands also I listed off for all your add migration, edit, delete migration, all those things. So this will add your migration here. Yeah, we'll stop it here. Okay, migration. What next? Update database. Update database. Guys, when you run this command, build failed. Oh. Somewhere we have an error, guys. Where? Semicolon is missing there. Sorry. Yeah, just a minute, few minutes. Add migration. Build succeeded. It will add you the migration file. Second thing, update database. Go and read your notes. Is not this one, NT framework. Already I explained you about all these things. This is creating a table for you, see. Before creating a table, it also created a database. What is the database name? MVC core DB. Two tables are created. What is it? Migration history table. Remember this table? Migration history table. Second one, customers table. Customers table. So before going to look into it, what will you do? Go to your migrations, what I explained to you in NT framework, code based and automatic migrations, and look at the commands. We'll use the same commands here. After doing this, go to SQL Server and see. Now you have MVC core DB created. If you go to SQL Server, now you have MVC core DB created, and also check it out. You have the two tables. One is the migration history table and the second one is the customers table. Now you are ready to start your work. Now you're ready to start your particular work. Okay. So once you do this, automatically everything is set ready. Run your project. And once you run your project, automatically it is going to work with SQL Server now, but not XML. It works with SQL Server, but not XML. Did you catch my point, all of you? So you are targeting SQL Server. No. NT framework cannot be used in core. In core, we should use core only. But NT framework core can be used in ASP.NET. But NT framework cannot be used in here. Okay, just a second. See now, data did not come now. Why? Table doesn't have records. You're targeting what? SQL Server. You're targeting SQL Server in this case. Now just observe it, all of you. Here if I change this, here if I come here and simply if I change this one, what is it? XML DAL, run the code. Now you're targeting XML. The data comes from XML. Same way, you want Oracle, write another class for Oracle. Write another class for Oracle. And the class for MySQL. You can write anything you like. Okay. So tomorrow we'll see, continue the appropriate things tomorrow. Okay. Let's stop here, guys. We'll meet tomorrow. Just I given you, Ankit, I given you the URL there. Go and see, is MongoDB available or not? Yes, Sai Kumar, we can use.